Hi, my name is Mary, and today we're going to talk about the 2x2 Italian Tubular Bind Off. Typically, if you want to work a tubular bind off over 2x2 ribbing, you need to rearrange your stitches to a 1x1 arrangement first. However, this method that I'm going to show you today allows you to bind off 2x2 ribbing without needing to do any rearranging, and still results in a neat, stretchy edge. You can see this bind off in action here on Liz Smith's Rocco vest. We're binding off straight from the ribbing here in this example, but you can also work tubular rows or rounds first. As always, follow your pattern first and foremost. Much like the 1x1 Italian tubular bind off, you'll need a tapestry needle to work this method, and we'll break your yarn to about 3 times the length of the finished edge. So get 3 times the length here. So 1, 2, 3, break the yarn, and thread it on my tapestry needle. This technique is written for beginning with a column of 2 knit stitches, so if your stitches start differently, you'll want to adjust them to get to a knit column first on the left needle. So now we've got our yarn threaded on our tapestry needle, and we'll do 3 steps to set up before beginning to work the bind off in earnest. The first one is going to be threading the tapestry needle through the first stitch on the needle as if to purl, and leaving it on. And now we're going to go to the back of the work, go behind these first 2 knit stitches, insert our tapestry needle between the knit and the purl stitch from back to front. And then we're going to go through that first purl stitch from front to back as if to knit. So we're not going between here, we're going through. You want to make sure you're not splitting any plies here. And pulling the yarn through. You're going to pull your yarn through at the end of each pass that you do, and you'll just want to gently snug your yarn each time to keep your tension even. So that was our setup, and now we can begin the main bind off, which consists of 10 steps. So each time these 10 steps are worked, they bind off 4 stitches. You'll repeat those 10 steps across your stitches. The first step is going to be bringing your tapestry needle through the first stitch on the left needle as if to knit and dropping it off. So that's 1 stitch bound off. And then we're going to insert our tapestry needle through the second knit stitch here as if to purl, but leave it on the needle. Okay. Now we're going to go around to the back and insert our tapestry needle through the first purl stitch from back to front as if to purl. So again, we're going through the stitch here. We're always going to want to keep our tension even here. And then we're going to go through the second purl stitch from front to back as if to knit. So again, we're going through the stitch here from front to back. So that was step 4. Now step 5, we can insert our tapestry needle through the remaining knit stitch of that first column as if to knit and drop it off the needle. So that's your second stitch bound off. Okay. Now we are going to bring our tapestry needle to the front and skip these 2 purl stitches and go through the first knit stitch of the next column as if to purl and leave it on the needle since it's got a couple stitches in front of it. That's bridging this purl column. You don't want to go too tight here, but you also don't want to leave it super loose, so just kind of keep medium tension. Now in step 7, we're going to drop the first purl stitch of this column off the needle, which I know can feel scary, but we actually secured it in step 3. And then we can go through the remaining purl stitch as if to purl and drop it off the left needle. This is a step where you can kind of rearrange where your loops are coming so that everything lays neatly. Okay. Now we're going to go behind the next two knit stitches on the tapestry needle and insert our needle between the knit and the purl stitch as we did during the setup, from back to front, making sure not to catch the legs of the neighboring stitches. And then again, go through that first purl stitch as if to knit from front and to back. So we bound off our first 4 stitches here with those first 10 steps, and now we can repeat the 10 steps again. So first step, we're going to go through the first knit stitch as if to knit and drop it off the left needle. And then through the first purl stitch as if to purl and leave it on. So that was step 2. Then for step 3, we're going to go around back and insert the tapestry needle through that first purl stitch as if to purl. And this is what actually secures this stitch for when we drop it off later. And then back through to the back, knitwise through this second purl stitch. That was step 4. And now we can take our tapestry needle through this second knit stitch as if to knit and drop it off the left needle. Kind of keep our stitches even, laying parallel to each other. And now we're going to go skipping these 2 purl stitches through the first knit stitch of the next knit column, purlwise. And then we can drop that purl stitch that we secured in the previous steps off the left needle, then secure this purl stitch and drop it off as well. And now we're going to go behind these 2 knit stitches, go between the knit and the purl from back to front, and then go through that first purl stitch as if to knit. That was another 10 steps. So you see this binds off with a really nice seamless edge. You still got that tubular, and it's in pattern. So I'm going to keep going until the last few stitches. So here we are at the last 2 stitches. We got here where we can't do any preparatory passes, that we leave the stitch on the needle with what we've got left because these have all already been prepped. So we're going to skip the steps that don't have stitches remaining, and we're just going to do enough to get these stitches bound off. We're going to go knitwise through this first knit stitch, and then purlwise through the second one, and then drop it off. If you have 2 purls as your last stitches, you'll do similarly. Just go through purlwise of the first one and drop it off, and then knitwise through the second. Here's what this finished edge looks like. It's quite stretchy. And again, just looks like the fabric is rolling over a little bit on that edge for a really nice finish. So there you have it, the 2x2 tubular bind off. Happy knitting!